half in the bag. Fuck movies. Oh, jeez. Oh, hey, Jay. Did you, like, open a window or something? It's fucking cold draft.
Oh, no, that's just the ghost girl.
Wow! Why is she so cold?
Because she's dead.
Well, why is she even still here? I fired her weeks ago. She was turning away all the customers.
Well, you see, the thing is, we're actually kind of dating now.
What? You're dating a ghost?
Sure, why not? She's a cheap date, she doesn't eat much. The only downside is that the sex isn't very good. I don't get a lot out of it. It's kind of like fucking a Kardashian.
Well, I guess I'm okay with this. As long as she doesn't become the Yoko Ono of this VCR repair shop, if you know what I mean.
Yoko Ono? Mm-hmm. Why would you automatically jump to that conclusion? What are you, some kind of dumb 13-year-old?
You know, speaking of dumb 13-year-olds, have you seen Warm Bodies?
What am I doing with my life? I just want to connect. Why can't I connect with people? Oh, right. It's because I'm dead. I wish I could introduce myself, but I don't remember my name. I think it started with an R. That's all I have left. It's kind of a bummer. I shouldn't be so hard on myself. I mean, we're all dead. This is my best friend. We even have almost conversations sometimes.
Warm Bodies is the story of a teenage girl falling in love with a teenage boy in the post-apocalypse. The catch? He's a fucking zombie. The film stars not Kristen Stewart as the girl, and not Robert Pattinson as the zombie. Throughout the course of the story, it is discovered that the zombie plague can be cured by the magical healing power of love, which is basically the stupidest thing ever. Mike, what did you think of Warm Bodies?
Well, Jay, Warm Bodies was lukewarm.
Did Warm Bodies leave you cold?
It warmed the cockles of my cock. No, this movie comes from the What Do We Got files. I'm introducing a new segment on Half in the Bag called the Hollywood What Do We Got files, which is basically, you know, something X, Y, and Z is popular, and Hollywood goes, what do we got that's like this? Someone dig around in the teen drama section of the bookstore. And it kind of like completely benign entertainment and devoid of all life, ironically. Although I didn't think it was a completely bad movie yet.
No, well, the obvious comparison is Twilight. That's, you know, a teen girl falls in love with a vampire, and this is a teen girl falls in love with a zombie. This movie is infinitely better made than that. It's a better made movie with an even stupider premise.
Yeah, the movie itself is made very well. It was directed by the guy who did 50/50, which is a pretty good film about cancer.
It's the funniest movie about cancer I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a good movie and shot well. This movie is shot well. It's lit well. It looks really nice. It doesn't look cheap like Twilight looks like a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah.
But you're right, Jay. It was very Twilight-esque, and that's the most recent comparison. But it is a pretty basic, age-old story. There were obvious Romeo and Juliet comparisons.
What are you talking about?
There's a scene where Jules, her name is Julie. She's on the balcony, and his name's R.
He can only remember the first letter.
But obviously it's a Romeo Juliet type thing. He's from the other clan. She's from this clan, and you know, star-crossed lovers.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. That's what it was. Except the twist is, if you can call it a twist, now in today's horribly cynical, rehashed, everything's been done age, the twist is that he's a zombie instead of a vampire this time, and someone found that book and said, look, there's a book with teenage star-crossed lovers where one guy is a zombie, and then love and things and teenage girls and money.
This movie even casts actors that look just like Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson in the leads. I'm pretty sure that wasn't unintentional.
Definitely a better actress than Kristen Stewart, although that's not saying much.
Oh, poor Kristen Stewart.
She tries.
Does she, though?
No.
Well, there's also a movie that came out called Beastly, where it's like Beauty and the Beast, but with teenagers, and it looks just like Twilight. So this movie falls pretty much right in line with those. It's more watchable than Twilight, but I don't know. I mean, I guess there's a target audience for this movie, and there's certainly an audience that'll probably enjoy it, but I certainly ain't it.
They call these guys bonies. They'll eat anything with a heartbeat. I mean, I will too, but at least I'm conflicted about it. Nice watch.
I don't want to give it the high praise of saying it took a different twist on the zombie genre, but I'll gladly take a movie like this over the later Romero movies that all have been sucking.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just like, okay, here we go, running around. And I'm not a big zombie guy. I mean, I like the old Romero movies. Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, those are great movies. And I'm like, that's all I need.
Well, there's nothing that makes it really a zombie movie in the traditional sense. And I was thinking about that while watching it because, again, with Twilight, I'm picturing people, like there's probably people out there that are really into vampires, I'm assuming, like vampire literature and movies and like classic vampire stuff. And I'm picturing someone that's really into that stuff going to see Twilight and being like, what, the vampires sparkle now? Like, what is this stupid crap? And I'm picturing like, and I am a fan of the older Romero zombie movies and some recent zombie movies. Overall, I think the zombie movies are pretty played out. Zombies in general are played out, but I was watching this movie and I was like, you can stop being dead thanks to the magical power of love? Like, and I get that that's just sort of the framework to hang this love story on. And it's like, it's a love story, but he's a zombie. And it's like, I get that. Yeah. But at the same time, no one that's interested in zombie movies is going to get anything out of this.
Right.
Even like, oh, that's a clever twist on zombie movies. No, Shaun of the Dead was a clever twist on zombie movies.
Well, the Shaun of the Dead was playing up the zombie cliches and making humor out of it. Yeah. This doesn't do that. And you're right, like, it is silly that love can cure zombieism, but each zombie movie has its own set of rules about what is and what isn't. Like, even the character, the main character, I guess we should get into the premise a little. There's like a teenage guy character who's like a emo rocker guy with a hoodie.
He's got his hoodie and his vinyl collection. Yeah. He's an emo hipster zombie.
He's an emo hipster zombie, and he's wandering around, but there's narration going on in his head to kind of tell you what's happening, and he right off the bat he goes, it could have been a disease or a plague or war or something that caused this thing, but don't worry about it. And so, and it establishes that like it doesn't have to be traditional zombies. You know, it's some sort of disease, and maybe that makes them dead, and they can come back to life with something, but. That's not the point of it. I'm not quite sure what the point of it was, other than just a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, more so than Twilight, because the obvious scene, the balcony scene, and I bet you they thought they were clever
I think
as
that's
fuck
it.
When they did that.
It was more based on the popularity of Twilight, but to make it. To kind of give it a classier feel, they're like, oh, we'll reference Romeo and Juliet in the most obvious ham-fisted way.
Well, Romeo and Juliet was the Capulets and the Montagues, and they were like warring families, and they hated each other, and those two came together, and well, obviously Romeo and Juliet did not end well.
Spoilers.
This does. Oh, sorry, spoilers.
Jesus Christ, asshole.
A play written 700 years ago. Spoilers. So there was that, and then there was like a slightly more ambiguous message about like xenophobia and people not liking other people and learning to like, we have to understand these people that we hate. Yeah. It's almost like a very, very subtle racism kind of message at the end. Like,
sure. I think it's just a message about generally being nicer to other people.
Yeah, it was like, You got to let your guard down sometimes, and I'm trying to pull something out of this other than nothing.
Yeah.
And not that there was any intention to have a greater message, but
There may have been. It's vague, but
yeah,
it's
love story.
You know what? At least it's something.
Yeah.
As opposed to Twilight.
Be dead. It's too much.
There were some issues that I had, if we're even going to take the time to analyze this script.
Sure, let's pretend this is a movie.
Okay. They seem to create a villain where there wasn't one or didn't need to be one, because the conflict should have been more so. John Malkovich plays the leader of the human resistance, who happens to be the father of the girl. And of course, there's a little backstory where his wife got eaten by a zombie, so he has this vengeance kind of thing, and he's very militaristic. He runs the army, and he hates the zombies. So the conflict really is the girl trying to convince the dad that the zombies can change. And that's in there, but it's in there just a little bit.
Yeah.
And to add tension and stuff throughout the whole movie, they create like a villain, like a subclass or subcaste of zombies, which are basically, once you've given up holding on to your humanity as a zombie, or like going through your daily routines like as a zombie, you become an evil undead skeleton thing called a bonesy.
Bonesies. Oh no, look out. Here come the bonesies.
Bonesies?
Bonesies.
I will gladly pay you tomorrow for a bonesy today.
That doesn't even make sense.
No. Bonesies are then they sort of don't like the zombies, but then this plot develops where our main zombie, his name is R. He falls in love with the blonde girl. Her name is Julie, and he wants to kind of protect her and stuff like that. And then, for some reason, the Bonesies don't like that, and I don't know why.
That was weird when they have a line like, one of the Rob Corddry zombies, like, the Bonesies are coming to get you.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck do they care? They're mindless walking corpses.
That's the thing, is, yeah, they're probably more mindless than the zombies.
They would have to be. That's the whole point, is that the regular zombies have that ability to become human again.
Yeah, so the fact that the Bonesies kind of saw that R was helping Julie or taking care of her or trying to form some sort of alliance with the humans or whatever, like that denotes intelligence of some kind, that the Bonesies were like, what are these guys doing? They're going to do this thing. We better go chase after them. And I was like, why are these things intelligent? It should have just been like they get trapped in a place and the Bonesies try to eat them and then they escape. But they become like the antagonists in the story, when really it should have been the John Malkovich character more so.
Yeah.
And I was glad that he wasn't comical bad. It kind of reminded me of Jonathan Lithgow in Footloose. It's like the preacher father, like, you two can't dance. Like a character like that, the disapproving Christian father, and the girl wants to dance crazy.
No, he's not too over the top.
It's not too over the top, and it's sort of like, yeah, he has his logic. Obviously, he's trying to preserve the human race, and he's very paranoid about stuff, but it's sort of just like, okay.
I almost wish he was more over the top, though.
Yeah.
I almost wish he was more over the top, and I wish this movie was worse. Because then I would have gotten more entertainment value out of it.
Yeah, it just needed a stronger dramatic arc. It needed a stronger plot,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, basically the whole movie is given away in the trailer.
Yeah.
Girl meets zombie. Zombie starts to feel human again, and eventually he's going to be cured of zombieism by love.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
This is a corpse infected with the plague. It is uncaring, unfeeling, incapable of remorse.
I don't understand, but he's changing, and he feels, and he's learning to be human again.
Oh my God, is that him?
Yeah.
So,
I would say, though, Jay, if someone were to write and make a teenage romance drama with zombies, this is a pretty good job at doing that.
What are they going to do next? When is a teenage girl going to fall in love with a mummy? I want to see the teen love mummy movie.
The Abominable Snowman.
Oh man, There needs to be an Abominable Snowman love story.
Yeah.
He's the new kid in high school, and everyone picks on him because he's an albino.
I guess you could do the same thing with the Sasquatch.
Or maybe because you have to have the rivals in the movie, the Sasquatch would be like the bad guy.
Oh, sure.
And the Abominable Snowman would be the good guy.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Take the general Twilight premise.
Yeah.
What about a girl that falls in love with a horse?
Oh, I watched that movie yesterday.
How'd you die? How old are you? Because you could be 20-something.
But you could also be a teenager, you know, you have one of those faces.
Is that beer in a glass?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that?
Oh, I came up with a really great idea. Check it out.
Did you fill the water cooler with beer?
Yes.
Mike, we've come up with some pretty crazy harebrained schemes over the years, but this is definitely one of them.
Cheers.
There's something I want to ask you.
There's something I'd like to ask you.
How about we say it at the same time?
Okay.
1, 2.
Will you poop on me?
What?
How's your HPV?
It's your HPV, Veronica. I'm just carrying it.
Truth or dare?
Dare.
See that blind kid over there? I dare you to blow out his candles before he gets a chance to.
The next film that we watched is called Movie 43. It's the 43rd movie in a series of movies. And it has a all-star cast.
Halle Berry's in the movie, Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, a bunch of other stars. And basically the movie is, it's a comedy, I think. I don't remember what the premise is. Do you remember, Jay?
Oh, there was, you know, some scenes with the actors, and they get into these situations, and it was just so hilarious.
Let me tell you, Jay, I loved every minute of this movie. Whoever knew that Halle Berry had such comedic chops. I saw her in a different comedy film that she did, which was just hysterical. It was called Catwoman.
My favorite scene in the movie is when that totally outrageous thing happened.
Yeah.
And everyone in the audience was like, "Oh, I can't believe they showed that."
There was that scene where they had the fancy dinner party, and Hugh Jackman comes home. And he's like, "I got the meat," you know. And the wife had just taken the dog out to the dog run, and she came back with the stinky bag of doggy poop.
Yeah.
And they put them on the counter, and then he was reaching over. He's like, "Honey, I'm working on the," and he doesn't look to where he's reaching to, and he grabs the doggy bag, and he goes, "Ooh, this meat," you know. And she goes,
It's an exotic meat.
you know, that's why it might have a little odor to it. They set it up ahead of time.
Sure, yeah. Well,
So-
so you gotta have your setup and your payoff in a comedy.
So he puts it on the pan and he starts grilling it, and they have a close up. You know, everyone's laughing.
And everyone in the theater's like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, no. And then and then she comes in. She goes, "Oh yeah, that does have quite the odor to it, doesn't it?" Hugh Jackman, and he's like, "Yeah." And so they serve it, and then the whole family's there, and it's like this big dinner, and they bring it out, and everyone's just laughing hysterically, and then they're cutting in. They're like, "Quite the flavor."
And then they cut to Grandma, and she says, "Can I have seconds?" Because she's just enjoying it so much, not realizing that it was dog shit the entire time.
Surprise!
Caught you a leprechaun.
I'm gonna cut off your balls and feed them to you. Your balls.
Jeez, they're so into balls.
Let me tell you, my favorite scene in this movie was the sequence where Liev Schreiber was trying to have an affair. He's trying to cheat on his wife with Anna Faris. And so they go and they check into the hotel, and then he's like, I'll meet you up there. I'll meet you up there. And then he goes up to the room, and the lights are off. He's like, "Oh, why are the lights off in this room? I can't see anything. Are you on the bed?" And then he gets on the bed, and he starts fucking. And then Anna Faris comes in, and she flips on the lights, and it's the maid. He was fucking the fat maid. She was so fat.
She was Mexican too.
Yeah, it's funny on multiple levels.
And she goes, "Don't you want to put it back in my taco?" And oh God, I laughed.
Yeah.
And she went,
And then that mariachi band came in the room, and it was like crazy because mariachi bands don't just come out of nowhere like that.
They
And that's
don't.
what makes it funny.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what makes it funny. It's the connection. It's because well, for one, fat people, no one wants to fuck a fat person. And she was fat and Mexican.
Yeah.
And then she says, put it back in my taco. You know, like her pussy is a taco. And then a mariachi band comes in, and that's traditionally mariachi bands are associated with Hispanics, Latinos, Latino Americans.
Sure.
And really, it's when the writer sits down and he makes those connections. He says, this big fat bitch is Mexican, and she Mexicans eat tacos, la tacos, and they also have mariachi bands. And you know, when you write, you make those connections.
You know, the more you explain the details of it, the more I appreciate how much thought went into the writing of this.
Having a period.
What do I do?
Oh, we're just gonna have to plug it up.
911. My friend is bleeding out of her vagina.
I got frozen peas and a sponge.
Did you like the scene where Richard Gere put a gerbil up Emma Stone's ass?
I did, because it's a play on the fact that Emma Stone looks like a gerbil.
She totally does, but I was actually thinking of it in a different context. The notorious rumor that Richard Gere likes to have pet gerbils. He has a pet gerbil.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then
that adds an extra layer to the movie again.
Yeah. Do you remember the gerbil actually talked in the movie? It had subtitles and made squeaking sounds.
Oh yeah.
Richard Gere brings Emma Stone over, and they had a romantic date. He's like, "Have a seat. I'm going to go freshen up in the bathroom." Of course, when he goes in the bathroom, he had to go number 2.
I appreciate the fact that they let that scene go on for 25 minutes.
It was hysterical. But Emma Stone is waiting, and she's being very, very polite, and you could hear him go, because whenever you go poop, it's constant farting sounds. And she's sitting there and she's waiting, and you see the gerbil, and the gerbil's like, "What a hot babe," like, "Ooh, someone's getting lucky tonight." And the gerbil is a male gerbil, and then they show its little legs, and in between its little legs, this little gerbil erection comes out. And then Emma Stone's like, she's looking around, and then she sees it, and she goes, and then get this, they start playing "Let's Get It On."
No way!
Yeah, it was fucking
that
hysterical.
Song? I recognize that song.
They play it a lot in movies to a joke like "Let's Get It On," but this one used it to the nines. Perfect. And so she looks around, Richard is still in the bathroom, and she takes the gerbil out, and then they cuts to them in a bed, like satin sheets, and then she's jerking the gerbil off, and then it starts coming just everywhere, and it's like, wow.
A gerbil would not have that much semen in it, and that's just so funny. It gets all over everything, and then the Mexican maid from earlier comes in, and it gets on her, and she goes, "Ay, Dios mío!" So it was like a callback.
And then Richard Gere comes out of the bathroom, and he goes, "That's a big one." So, the movie's fucking hysterical. And then he goes, Mr. Tinkles, how dare you cheat on me? Oh! And that's the joke.
I can't believe you sucked off that hobo for magic beans.
He was wizard.
So, Jay, would you recommend movie 43?
Absolutely. If you love to laugh, if you love comedy.
Yeah, Jay, if you love comedy. And that's the thing, really. Like, a lot of critics have been kind of panning this movie, saying, like, it's lowbrow or whatever. I mean, you go to a movie to have a good time. You go to a movie to laugh at things that are funny, like people eating dog poop, and so some farting or fat people jokes or gay jokes or whatever's funny.
Especially when it's happening to a celebrity.
Yeah,
it's like, I can't believe that Kate Winslet just shoved that in her ass, and then that's the funny part.
Yeah. Well, there's that scene they go on a cruise ship in one bit, and Kate Winslet goes up to the front of the boat, kind of doing the Titanic thing with the bow.
Of course, yeah.
Do you remember? And then she had just eaten a bunch of clams earlier, and then you hear like her stomach, and she goes, and then it pushes her off the boat.
Oh man!
And I was just like, the fart knocked her off the bow of the ship. Like, that wouldn't have happened in Titanic.
And then that parody song came on that said, "My farts will go on."
Yeah. So a lot of critics have been poo-pooing this movie, and all those people just need to get the stick out of their ass, and they need to go to a theater and get a bunch of friends with them and just You know, just laugh.
I would say, yeah, I would recommend it. Maybe leave before the last 10 minutes, because it is a sketch film, so obviously there's lots of different little scenarios throughout the movie, and I thought it was a really odd note to end the movie on just 10 minutes of news footage of 9/11.
Hydrocodones, Vicodins, Vicacodones, Oxycontins, Oxymorphones,
Mike, this beer is warm.
What? Well, how is it warm? I put it in the water cooler.
I don't think the tank that stores the liquids keeps things cool, you mook.
Huh, you're right. Ugh. I did not think this one through, Jay.
How are we expected to impress our classy, high-end clients if we have to serve them warm beer from our beer cooler?
I don't know. This is quite the pickle. Oh, fuck. Oh, it's cold. There's that damn ghost girl.
Yeah.
You know, she is fucking freezing cold. Wait a minute, Jay. I may have just thought of the perfect idea to keep our beer cold.